A new report out of Forbes based on UK tax documents reveals that Disney spent more than they have spent on most Marvel productions in making Secret Invasion, a show that I'm fairly certain you didn't watch. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Secret Skrull, Mr. VashSky. Vash, are you green with jagged teeth?
You see, that's the question, Jonas. Am I really Vash, or have I taken the place of Vash? You'll never know, and that was the whole point behind Secret Invasion. Apparently, Rhodey wasn't able to share the last moments of Iron Man there.
Spoiler alert to anyone who didn't watch Secret Invasion. I watched parts of Secret Invasion. It was a weird show. It was supposed to be, you know, this is after Bob Iger is back and everything is quote unquote fixed. They do an AI intro sequence on this one, which I get why they did that. I think it wasn't necessarily AI. It looked like AI. Man, it was a weird show. And just so that we can bring everybody up to speed here, if you don't know what Secret Invasion is, it's supposed to be that Samuel L. Jackson comes back from space and he's back on Earth and he's hearing about everything that should have been done to protect or get the Skrulls a place on Earth. They're space refugees, originally thought of as space, what some might call freedom fighters in that Rambo 2 sense. You know, the kind that might be associated with countries that are hostile to the United States. Because whether or not someone is considered a freedom fighter, there's another word that's usually used against them that I'm not going to use in this video. But back in the day, Samuel L. Jackson's character of Nick Fury had promised these people that he would find them a place on Earth. He has not necessarily kept up with that. It's been since the 1990s. Captain Marvel is not around to help with that because she's off bold, brave, beautiful out there in the sky, helping other people out there in the universe. Miss Marvel, I don't think had much to do with this one, but you were supposed to have watched that one as well. And I'm trying to think, there is one more thing that people were expected to watch. I forget if this is before or after the Marvels, but no, the Marvels was after. Anyways, the Skrulls can look like humans, or they could look like green people with pointy ears and jagged teeth. During the course of it, it is revealed that Samuel L. Jackson's wife, who looks like an African-American woman most of the time, is actually a Skrull, and he gets a little lip action going on with her by the end of the series. There's also the fact that Ben Mendelsohn's character from Captain Marvel, he dies, and his daughter, played by Emilia Clarke, ends up in this program that they create two super Skrulls by accident. Well, she kind of weasels her way into it, and she gets all the power of all the superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at one time. And she beats a man who also has all the powers of all the Marvel superheroes at one time. Even some that are magic-based, like Ebony Maw is in the mix there at some point. One of the magic guy from Avengers Infinity War. You know, some that don't even make sense. And when she transforms into him, for some reason, she has his rings. When she does his arm. Or that she's also Drax, which Drax is not a superhero. He's an alien. So I'm not completely understanding. And she, of course, when she finally defeats the guy, she does take on the mantle of Captain Marvel. So this show, because I've described it this way so you all understand, this show is a mess. And it is more of the power was inside of you all along. Female characters that are so powerful that you have to write limitations into them that don't really make any sense. You know, Scarlet Witch, a little too powerful, doesn't need to be your main character. Captain Marvel, a little too powerful, doesn't need to be your main character. I'm trying to think who else is in this series of things. Anyways, the show ends with what was Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn's characters, who were supposed to make everything right for the Skrulls. They did it wrong, and now they're going to be replaced with Olivia Colman and Emilia Clarke's characters, the female versions of those characters that are going to make everything right and correct all of the wrongs of the men who failed to live up to. It's very MCU. I'm going to say that for that accusation, which I'm not necessarily a fan of because I know it off-puts some people to say it's MCU, but it is very much in that realm of this is the most powerful woman that has ever existed kind of thing. And nobody watched it. But let's get into this article and talk about where Disney spent their money. Marvel's Secret Invasion cost nearly $250 million. This by Caroline Reed over there at Forbes. This updated a couple of days ago. Disney has revealed the cost of making the Marvel Studios spy drama Secret Invasion surged to a staggering $224.3 million after it shelled out $37.5 million in post-production of the 6-part limited series. Here's a chart right here showing Captain America: First Avenger, Loki Season 2. So we have a comparable amount on a show that has a lot of special effects in it. Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, which, by the way, those effects on Doctor Strange are fantastic. Secret Invasion cost even more than all of those films. I'm not going to say all of those films combined, but, and by the way, you can go check this out over on the @MovieConomics Twitter handle over there, run by Miss Caroline Reed. Secret Invasion, starring Sam Jackson and Olivia Colman as rival secret agents tracking down green shape-shifting aliens who had infiltrated the government, debuted on Disney Plus in June, though the second lowest audience of any streaming series set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at just 994,000 with a T, watched in its first 5 days, according to Samba TV. Final episode scored just 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. So much so indeed that our Forbes.com colleague Paul Tassi said that Secret Invasion sacrifices great characters and creates stupid plot holes to the point where, yes, I do believe it should actually be banished from the MCU canon, and I don't say that lightly. It really was that bad and damaging. He added that Secret Invasion has clearly become the worst MCU show to date. It came at quite a cost. So to have Paul Tassi, who was a big fan of The Acolyte, I need to reemphasize this. Paul Tassi thought The Acolyte was great, and even he thinks that the Secret Invasion show needs to be decanonized. That's how bad this show was.
That's insane. That is really something right there. And this was also the show, I think, where they told the actors not to read any of the source material. We're taking it into a whole bold new direction. Well, apparently they did. And the thing that's most striking about this, I think Paul Tassi actually referenced it. It came at quite a cost. You look at the cost associated with those prior films right there, and outside of Thor: The Dark World that was on that list, a lot of those films were able to launch these kind of IPs within the Marvel Cinematic Universe that went on to do gangbusters business. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, it's not only launched 1 but 2 attractions at Disney theme parks now on both coasts. Interestingly enough, it has moved gobbles of merchandise and so forth. Same thing might be said about Doctor Strange itself, right? That has been a real merchandise driver for the company to the point where they actually greenlit a sequel for it. Unfortunately, that didn't work out in quite the way they planned. But you could see the value that comes from those, I think, blockbuster smash hits for the Walt Disney Company. And as opposed to this, that didn't move any merchandise, didn't launch any of its own IP, aren't going to be incorporated into the theme parks, isn't moving the needle at all, and yet it came at a cost of $225 million.
Vash, I need to ask you, I don't know if you remember this. Did you know that they did Secret Invasion promotions within the parks and also on ABC News?
Okay, what did they do with the parks?
In the parks, they would have cast members walk through the background with Skrull makeup on. So they would have somebody who was obviously just in a cast member outfit, who was a paid actor to be a Skrull, walk through the background so that people would see a Skrull in the background of a social media shot. They even did this in some news segments, which was a bold choice considering the concept of fake news in the United States today. Well, I'm sure globally at this point. So this was a show that they did try to market this show. They really... Ben Mendelsohn is a great actor, and I think he's fantastic in almost everything that he does. And I say almost just because I haven't seen everything that he does. I've yet to see him put in a bad performance. Samuel L. Jackson, Olivia Colman in this show right here. So let's get to why they might not have had all of their best work. Filming wrapped in April of 2022, but Jackson later confirmed he would return to London to work on reshoots, which reportedly took a total of 4 months. That's long enough to shoot an entire movie, by the way. This even involved a new writer being hired to work on the additional material, which finished filming in September of 2022. Previous financial statements, we've talked about the financial figures before. There were also some indications that even after the show was going on, you can check that out on That Park Place. Even after the show had started airing, they were still dusting up the end of the film. This goes into the history of Disney trying to change the course over there. Filming generates economic impact in the country. This is talking about why the UK tax credits were put into place, keeps local workers on the jobs. And one of Grass-Fed Productions' biggest single expenses was the $19.7 million paid to production staff. Financial statements show that they peaked at 314 employees without even including freelance workers who make up a majority of the crew. So even though Secret Invasion doesn't ignite viewers' interest, it still turned out well for the people of the UK. So we want to thank the people of the UK for putting their hard-earned tax dollars into paying for this production. But also, it seems like if there is ever a UK film industry to speak of, this is the reason that it is there. Actually, it's probably J.K. Rowling's fault that there's a UK film industry because of everything that she did with Harry Potter. Anyways, I could geek out about that all day long. Vash, you think, does this inspire you, hearing that it cost this much money? Does this make you think, man, I need to go revisit Secret Invasion, or in your case, visit it for the first time to see what quality they must have at $225 million of production?
This is absolutely wild. It reminds me of Cleopatra back in the day, which also a reshot for an extensive period of time, actually filmed, I believe, partially in Pinewood as well, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm getting my movie history correct. Anyways, this is just absolutely insane. 4 months of reshoots. I mean, are you really that disorganized where you have to reshoot the entire thing again, practically? And at great expense too, because like we mentioned before, Samuel L. Jackson, he obviously demands a paycheck to be associated with whatever this was. From what I understand, has done really great brand damage to the MCU by its existence. This is, I think, what Paul Tassi was referring to right here. And again, $225 million. We could have spent it anywhere else within the company's line of products and entertainment. And yet we spent it on this. The blank checks, Jonas, that are being given out for these productions, they have to cease. They have to stop. This is absolutely insane. The company itself can't continue on this line, because I mean the company will have suffered more than they already have if we continue to do this. And fortunately, I think they are attempting to reevaluate the situation. It's just kind of stunning how much capital and investment they were willing to throw towards Disney Plus, this void here, without seeing as much of a profit as I think investors have now woken up to.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that Marvel is probably going to get away from these television series going forward, other than the fact that Daredevil looks like that will be coming out in March, I believe, of next year. So we'll see what happens. It sounds like Tatiana Maslany has moved over to the Starfleet Academy series over there on Paramount Plus, so she won't be coming back as the headliner of a She-Hulk series anytime soon. Sounds like, I'm not saying that precludes her from doing it, just say it's less likely. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Daredevil makes Disney its money back. That's a show that doesn't necessarily need the visual effects budget and fakery that we have seen from Secret Invasions, because I got to say, Secret Invasion, it just looked fake. It looked very fake, to the point where I even see some of those 2000s era CGI films from back in the day, not to evoke Harry Potter yet again. And there's at least some believability there, even if you hand wave it a little bit. That being said, let's not just talk about how great Harry Potter is. Let's talk about Secret Invasion in the comment section down below. Did you watch it? And if you're hearing about it for the first time, what do you think about the plot details that I've shared with you. Not to mention that there is some kind of Trump-like figure by the end of the show, played by Dermot Mulroney, that may or may not be a Skrull by the end of the show. Oh, so fascinating. That being said, leave your comments in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.